Beginner's Guide to CB Radio, Video 7, some terminology, 10 codes and Q codes.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Paul, Mike 0, Whiskey November uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres, and PMR 446, or if you catch me just on the CB informally, that would be the Red Squirrel. So that would be my CB handle, which is a CB's nickname, and you can pick any nickname you like, as long as it's clean and within reason. So, like I said, mine's the Red Squirrel. It should be quite obvious as to why that would be. I'll give you a clue. So, yeah, so bit of CB terminology and some 10 codes and Q codes that might be of some use. So, now, if you're driving about, you'll obviously see the police out and about. In CB speak, that would be referred to as bears or smoky. It's an American thing. So you might not hear that so much in this country these days. But in the beginning of CB, you would have probably heard that a lot. So breaker is basically you or anyone else with a CB radio that's operating. So you come on is a go ahead, please reply. So basically if you're calling, so basically I'm going to do an example. Basically, Red Squirrel calling the rubber duck, come on. By the way, rubber duck was a name of the CB featured in the novelty song Convoy by C.W. McCall. So it's always the best one to use. So anyways, you've got other things. You've got people who just press the button and don't speak at all. That's called dead keying. That tends to be used a lot. Do copy is a useful one as well. If you're asking someone if they can understand what you're basically transmitting to them. So sometimes you might hear someone ask a specific person if they've got their ears on. That's if they got the CB radio turned on, basically. If they haven't got the CB radio turned on, they're not going to hear. So, you know. I'm not going to go to all of those. So, good buddy is basically someone on a CB radio that you would consider a friendly person to talk to, or as operating a CB radio in a proper manner. So knock it up and knock it down, basically changing channel up or down. So knock it up 1 if you're on 19 would put it to 20, knock it down 1 would put it to 18. You know what I mean? So sometimes you'll hear the UK set of channels, but not so much these days, I don't think, referred to as the Muppet Band. So that's the UK set of channels. So another one about changing channels is pick a window. You don't hear that much these days either. So Roger is one you'll hear a lot on there. That's usually means acknowledged. So let's go on to something else. So 73 or 73s, it's actually 73, is regards all the best, or just all the best, or regards. And if you're talking to your spouse on the CB, 88 is love and kisses. So there we go. And the CB aerial can sometimes be referred to as a twig. So let's have a look at the 10 codes, shall we? Now, there's only a couple that you will really need to know. So 10.1 is receiving poorly. You're not receiving anyone at all. 10.4, message received, basically. 10.10, basically standing by, transmission, end of transmission complete, but you've still got the thing switched on. 10.20 is your location. That's also covered in a Q code, which I will cover shortly. So my 20 would be Catterick Garrison. So that's where I'm located right now. So if you asked what's your 20 or what's your 1020, that's your location. So go on to some of the Q codes. So QRM is interference, specifically man-made interference. So if someone says they're suffering QRM, that means they're suffering from interference of a man-made nature, which generally tends to be cheaply made switch mode power supplies and other cheap nasty stuff that's come in from China without being brought in through the proper channels, and also the home plug networking devices that you plug into your power sockets to turn your power wiring into a networking cable, which really was not thought out well and actually a bad idea. QRN is natural interference, so like a thunderstorm, so that sort of thing. So QRT is basically stop transmitting. You've at the end of your transmission. QSK is basically breaking in. That would be the same as just if you would pick up the mic and said breaker on the side or something like that. QSO would be the contact that you're in. There's a couple of others as well. QTH, that's another important Q code that you might want to know. That's the same as 1020, what's your 20? So basically my QTH would be capture garrison. So that should cover that. I don't think there's anything else in this thing to cover, because this is actually a print off of a web page from 2011. It doesn't exist anymore. So this document that I'm reading from is actually 10 years old. So, you know, it's useful to have it. I keep it for reference and such like, just like I keep a copy of Off 364. I've actually got an older version of Off 364 as well in this same folder that predates the changes made to the regulations to allow AM and single sideband. So I'm hoping that's covered all of the necessary abbreviations, 10 codes and Q codes. So as I've been saying at the end of all of these videos, it's 1010 till we do it again, or as they say in the amateur radio world, and as you will probably know, CB as well, 7.3 for now. And I'll catch you in my next video. So I hope you found this little series of the Beginner's Guide to CB Radio informative, and I also hope that you think about going out and buying yourself a CB radio, because it's a great tool to have, especially when nothing else is working, and also you can use it while driving and you're not breaking the law by doing so. So I'll catch you in the next video.